Good day, and how's everyone doing? I am EJ always, and welcome to the Opposite Side Show. I am here with my lovely co host, Miss Crystal Renee.
Hi.
And today, we'd like to thank you for tuning in for the first time to our first show, our inaugural show. And it's going to be like a promotional thing, but we wanted to talk about what was trending in Netflix right now, what's trending on Twitter and around the globe is the movie Cuties that has been directed by Maimouna Doucoure and is being financed and also shown on all its platforms on Netflix. The first outcry that I saw was basically on Twitter. I saw hashtag cancel Netflix, hashtag boycott Netflix, and I had no idea why. And so I went, to the trending topic and started reading some of the tweets. And to say the least, I was disturbed at some of the things that I was reading, um, and so I went to investigate further. After going to my Netflix account, looking up the movie, and just by some of the comments that were given in the Twitter timeline, I didn't even want to watch the movie. So I sped scrolled through it and kind of got the gist of what was going on. But tell me, what was your first reaction when you heard about the movie?
Hmm. Well, when I heard about the movie, well, first let me say I haven't watched the trailer. I'm not going to watch the trailer. Reading the comments about this particular film, it was more than enough for me to say I'm not built like that. I do not want to even watch the trailer. Not only that, I'm also not going to watch the film. I don't care how much awareness it's supposed to bring. So from actually reading the comments, disgust was my first reaction. Exploitation came to mind. Disrespect came to mind. And I'll also say cancel Netflix came to mind briefly, but I'll get more into that a little later. But those were the initial things that elicited um my emotional response. It was kind of anger, discomfort. I felt the children were disrespected. I felt that we, the onlookers, were disrespected. And it was just simple exploitation from what I've read. And that's just from what I've read because I haven't seen the trailer and I'm not going to.
Okay, and so due to the backlash, Maimouna Doucoure has come out and basically said that those who are speaking out against her movie have never seen it, and therefore they are misunderstanding it. That her movie actually is speaking out for children who are hypersexualized from an early age. Um, I wanted to show an article. One was how Netflix themselves already knew the um, the type of um, drawback backlash that they would be getting from this, but they've owned the rights to this movie worldwide since beginning of January 2020.
Mm,
The article says Netflix has bought world rights, excluding France, to Maimouna Doucoure's debut feature Cuties, which has its world premiere in Sundance's 2020 World Cinema Dramatic Competition, and will then screen in Berlinale's Generation K Plus section. The pick playing under the Netflix brand will be translated into more than 40 languages and screened in the streamer's 190 territories. In France, it will be released by April 1st by Bach Films, which is handling French rights. Cuties is about the hypersexualization of pre-adolescent girls. It follows an 11-year-old girl of Senegalese origin living in one of Paris's poorest neighborhoods who is raised in a pious tradition but joins a group of young dancers who hope to twerk their way to stardom.
mm, mm,
So, like
mm,
right off, we've got an upcoming show topic, and it's called, or basically centered around red flags in relationships.
mhm.
So, just from that brief couple of paragraphs of that article, are there any red flags to you?
There are so many red flags, so it's ridiculous. Okay, so here's my thing. I will say this. I do not have the answers. I do not have all of the answers. But I will say that there's a few things that kind of stick out to me. Number one, I personally applaud Maimouna Doucoure for attempting to bring awareness to the hypersexualization of young girls. I applaud her for that. I do not agree with the trajectory she has taken to get to that point, to bring about awareness. I feel like when we're dealing with innocent, delicate lives and psyche of little boys and girls, we need to be very delicate in our approach, and we need to be intentional with how we go about driving them and guiding them. Okay. So for me, the biggest thing is contextualization, right? And I'm going to provide an example of what I mean. When we're dealing with an audience that has a broad range of different ages, right? We
Hmm.
have to consider that everybody processes things differently. So, for example, I could watch a documentary on processed sugar, right? And how processed sugar is bad for us. It's our drug of choice. It's bad for the human body. We need to do away with it. My nieces, I have three nieces, 1 3, 1 5, and 1 6. My three nieces can sit down and watch the same documentary with me at the same time. But as I'm watching the documentary, they're explaining what sugar does to the body, and they're showing all these visuals, these pictures. They're showing cookies, cakes, M&Ms, all this sugar. To me, when I'm looking at that and I'm listening to the lecture, it's educating me. It's eliciting in me a response to make better food choice decisions. But with my nieces, when they're looking at that same documentary, they're seeing the M&Ms, the cookies, the cakes, the candy, the sugar. To them, it's gonna elicit a response of mimicking, imitation. Oh, I want to try that. That looks good.
Excellent point.
Oh, they will mimic that. They're not gonna be educated by what they're actually saying in the documentary, even though it's very informative. It's not going to resonate with them the same way that it would me, because I'm older. I process things differently. From I have experience in life to look at and guide me. They do not. They just know, oh, I see bright colors. I see cakes. I like cupcakes. I want cupcakes. So they see all these visuals of people stuffing all these cupcakes, sugar, all this stuff down their throats. They're going to want to partake in that. So they're not going to be educated. They're going to want to mimic what they see. So I feel like with this film, that's what, even though she's trying to bring awareness, and I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say she means well. I'm just going to do that. But with that, because we're dealing with an audience with a broad range of different ages, we have to consider that people will receive things differently. So we have to be very, very delicate. So I applaud her for attempting to bring awareness, but I do not like the trajectory. I think that there's so many different ways she could have gone about it. Maybe an interview style. Maybe being able, maybe talking to the girls and kind of maybe describing to them what anonymity is, and they can be completely transparent, and whatever you say, it's not going to be used against you. We're not going to tell your parents, but we want it to be real, raw, and authentic. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. I
Right.
personally agree with the way that this was done, but I do applaud her for attempting to bring awareness.
Okay. So
That's
let
that.
me give some context, because I know since you're a woman and girl power is your thing, and she's a woman of color, you're giving her the benefit of the doubt, which is cool and understandable. But let her explain in her own words. So here we have on IndieWire, Cuties director speaks out amid backlash, film sexualizes children, and Netflix stands by it. Cuties director Maimouna Doucoure has broken her silence in an interview with Zora amid escalating backlash that claims her award-winning coming-of-age drama sexualizes its young actresses. Outrage over Cuties erupted August 20th after Netflix debuted a poster for the film that featured its child stars making suggestive dance poses in revealing outfits. The poster led to accusations the film sexualizes its stars, when in reality, Cuties openly criticizes the ways in which society puts pressure on young girls to be overtly sexual. While Netflix apologized for inappropriately marketing the film, the September 9th debut of Cuties on the streaming platform has caused backlash to explode on social media. Ducouré says it's clear from the backlash that people upset with her film have not streamed it, telling Zora, quote, I realize that the people who have started this controversy haven't yet seen the film. Netflix has apologized to the public and to myself. I'm hoping that these people will watch the movie now that it's out. I'm eager to see their reaction when they realize that we're both on the same side of this fight against young children's hypersexualization. Star newcomer Fathia Youssef as Amy, an 11-year-old girl who befriends a group of dancers at her school and begins growing into her burgeoning femininity. Amy's coming of age experience with her new friends upsets her mother as it is in direct confrontation with the family's Senegalese Muslim traditions. Okay, so in her own words, she's saying that the movie is basically about a journey of pre-adolescent young girls and the pressures that they face with social media. Let me just say this: there are ways to put um, to frame things when you do videos. Um, there's a way, even artfully, to film, let's just say, a naked adult woman, and it be tasteful and artful, depending on how it's directed, how it's edited, and how it's shot. And then there's also a way to be very distasteful with a camera. Um, and the scenes that I saw, the clips that I saw on Twitter, nah, 11-year-old girls, humping the floor, um, you know, gratuitous cramming shots of little girls slapping each other on the butts. I don't believe that you bring a light on hypersexualizing the hypersexualization of children by hypersexualizing. You know what I mean? I have a young daughter that's 11 years old, and at an early age, I never wanted her to be in any beauty pageants or any of that kind of stuff, just because of that same thing of people trying to dress up young girls like adults and parade them in front of people, and the whole stigmatism associated with that. So I would never try to speak out against pornography by putting on child pornography and saying, "See here, see how bad this is." And so when I looked at the movie, well, excuse me, didn't look when I looked at the clips, it's very uncomfortable to even watch. You know what I mean? You can't sit there and watch it.
Oh, don't play any clips.
No, 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 no. I'm not gonna play it because I would never play any clips. That's just how bad it was. I'm gonna show you a write up of the screen scenes. And now imagine this is two dimensional. You know what I mean? This isn't the scene itself. This is just what's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, these are other scenes from the movie's Cuties. In one scene, two male security guards stop the girls, and one girl says, "quote But we're dancers. We have a dance competition to get to," and proceeds to twerk for him. He lets them go.
Mm.
Another scene: the four girls are practicing for the competition. The scene includes them repetitively holding and smacking each other behinds while they twerk and pulling each other's clothing.
Wow.
Another scene, one girl takes a photo of her vagina and posts it online. Another scene, a 5-year-old girl takes a turn at webcam porn.
Oh my God.
Another scene, a young girl tries to take a photo of a schoolboy's penis. In another scene, a girl takes a used condom and blows it up. So, I mean, you'll have to forgive me when I say that there are ways that you can bring attention to the hypersexualization of children without
Mhm.
hypersexualizing them.
Oh,
So tell me, what do you think about the list when you read it? You haven't seen any clips. Just tell me about what you've seen.
right. I haven't seen any clips. But this list that you presented, this is disgusting. Um, this does not need to show anyone. Period. What I get from the article you read that has some of her own work and from this list is respect, or better yet, the lack thereof.
Hmm.
There, even though these children are young, we still have to respect and love our young kids enough to say, I'm going to make you aware of the dangers of the world because I love and respect you so much, but I'm going to do it in a way that doesn't make you demonstrate those things. Are you going to love your children? Are you going to love kids in your neighborhood enough to say, I love and I respect you so much that I'm going to educate you on what fire is, what it does to you, and how to avoid it? But I want you to put your hand in fire so you can see how it feels, because I think then you'll learn, you'll understand. Like, is that what we want to do? I don't think that that's appropriate. I don't think that that's love. I don't think that that's respect. Because at the end of the day, and from what I read, they had counselors on site, and that's great, I guess, even though the film shouldn't have been shot at all, period.
Facts.
But my question is, okay, you have counselors for these children. What about a counselor for the director? Is there a counselor for the director? Because if a director was able to film this stuff, take the angles that they were taking, film the different positions and the deplorable behavior, if the director was able to do that and psychologically they were comfortable doing it, that's a problem. Did you have a counselor for yourself on set? And if
Hmm.
not, that raises, you got, okay, we're gonna take care of the kids, we're gonna get them counseling, make sure they have somebody to talk to. That's cool. But do you have somebody to talk to? Do you, I mean, were you able to film this stuff in the comfort of just your own sanity? Did nothing elicit in you of disgust, or hey, you know what, I need to talk to somebody because I know that I want to bring awareness, but I don't know if this is making me extremely uncomfortable. I don't know if I can go through with this. So if you were able to film this straight rapid fire all the way through, all right, next set, next set, next set, let's get it, let's go, all right, change of clothes, all this makeup, and let's get into it. If that's how you govern yourself and you didn't have a counselor for yourself, I question that. I do, and I question the respect and love that we have for these our young boys and girls.
You
There's a
know,
way to go about doing things, and the way that this was done is not appropriate in my mind. Period.
when I scrolled through the video, it reminded me of soft porn more than it, because I mean, like, of course you have all of these different type of movies or these dance movies where the kids are trying to fit into a group, they form a dance group, they have a dance off, they're trying to get to this final contest at the end, and the movie's about their journey to be accepted and all that. And so the movie is kind of takes that pathway. But you
Mhm,
know, at the end of all these movies, you have that one scene where everything kind of comes of age and they have the dance off or whatever. Well,
mhm.
the scene where they have the dance off is where I just had to turn it off because I'm seeing they're filming it. I mean, it's just sick the way that they're filming. I can't see how she could justify it at all. It's just like I'm saying, you couldn't justify Black Lives Matter by saying, hey, we're gonna go kill somebody black so you can just understand just what it means when we say Black Lives Matter. That would be
Exactly.
idiotic. So to
Yeah.
say that you're championing against the hypersexualization of children by hypersexualizing them on a screen in front of 190 different countries and all these different languages, and it's the fact that it's award winning. You
Why?
see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The fact that it's award winning, that it means that there are a bunch of people who rock with this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Mhm,
I don't see how anybody could sit with their 11-year-old daughter or their
mhm,
11-year-old son and not be comfortable and be comfortable in the same room with it or even watch it themselves. I don't understand how they come off like that. And so nowadays what we have is they put this type of stuff, this type of garbage, this type of filth out in front of you,
mhm,
and it's shocking at first. It's really, really shocking. But then they do it again, and it becomes
mhm,
less and less and less shocking until people are desensitized to the fact that we now have 11-year-old girls humping the floor, slapping
mhm.
themselves on the butt, imitating taking pictures of their vagina and the boys' penises and sending it to themselves. There is already enough social pressure for women to
Mm,
conform to a certain beauty framework, to a certain size framework, to a certain lifestyle framework when it comes to Twitter, when it comes to Facebook, and how things are supposed to appear great for you. When you have a visual aid of that sort, that's just like you said, little girls that age are going to try to mimic what they see. They're not going to be looking into the in-depthness of hypersexualization of girls in that movie.
right.
They're going to be trying to imitate the dance moves, like when they
Mm,
see the stuff on TikTok, like when they
mhm.
see the stuff on Twitter, when they see it on Instagram. They're trying to imitate what they see.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Another thing that kind of stood out to me is these young girls were really young, like 11, 12 in real life, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So this is another route that could have been taken. And if I were the director, and I know everybody's different, like again, like I said, I preface this with I do not have the answers, but I do know that this what happened, this ain't it. I do know that much. So one thing that I would, if I were the director, I would consider casting people who are actually grown, get grown women that maybe look younger than their actual age and have them play in the film, but put a disclaimer in the beginning so that the audience will know every woman in this video is older than is above the age of 18, so we won't feel, weirded out by it. Because then as adults, as the audience, we might be able to look at it and say, okay, you know what? This is still sick, and we know that exploitation is taking place in our communities. However, we have that buffer there to let us know that, okay, well, these are grown women. They're grown women. They're acting. They're playing a part. There's a different tone of sickness that comes over you when you realize that these are young girls, like real legit young girls, 11 and 12 years old. That's a problem. I think maybe casting it differently. If you did want to do it this way, if you just insisted on getting these angles that you got and all this other stuff, get grown women. Get grown women that maybe look a little younger than what they actually are. Have them playing the film. Put a disclaimer in the beginning. All of these women are over the age of 18, so that at least for the audience, we'll know. Okay, you know what? This is sick. It's disgusting. It's raising awareness. But at least we know that these are grown women that are acting and playing these parts. Because when you're looking at 11, 12-year-old girls, it's not acting to you. Me as a grown woman, if I were to see those clips, acting would not come to my mind.
Right.
It's something else that comes to mind, and it is very disturbing and it's disgusting. So yeah, no, I don't have the answers, but I do know that how do you pronounce her name? Maimouna Doucoure.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have it now in the way that I understood it. This ain't it, boo. This not it. We gotta respect, and we have to love our kids, and we have to respect and love them enough to understand their psyche, understand how they perceive things, understand how things register with them, and we need to tailor how we interact with them. We need to tailor what they watch. We need to be. This is very delicate. It's a very sensitive thing because we're dealing with the psyches of these young boys and girls, and what you show them, how you guide them at a young age will affect how they govern themselves in adulthood. It will affect what they're attracted to. It will affect how they behave, how they think, how they perceive things, what they go after, what they're attracted to. All of these things will affect them. So are we like applauding them and encouraging them for twerking and sending vagina pics and blowing up used condoms? Do we want to desensitize our babies? Like, is that what we want to do? I don't want to do that. We don't want to raise a bunch of psychopaths, a bunch of Ted Bundys, because I think we're headed that way. We're getting to the point where they're normalizing every single sick thing. Everything is normal to the point where I don't think people will even be able to emote in a normal way. Nothing will affect them.
Yeah, you can't
If you're saying
sympathize with stuff that you've been desensitized to.
exactly, that's the route that we're heading, and that is dangerous. Because I think then you're gonna get into seeing a whole lot more psychopaths and sadists and stuff that we don't want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole fact. And I remember when I read the article in completeness, my Mona Ducoure said that she interviewed the girls and talked to them about these different subjects, and that through talking to them, that she understood that they already knew about these things and were aware of these videos and stuff. And I said to myself, there's still no excuse. Like if my daughter looks up something on YouTube or on TikTok that's inappropriate that she's not supposed to be looking at, that doesn't then become an excuse that, well, she's seen something she shouldn't look at, so let her do it all the time. No, that's not what you do. You know what I'm saying? There could have been so many learning opportunities without doing the film this way, without shooting the film this way. And when I say shooting it, I mean like I know the difference between a film that's supposed to be, rated G, rated PG, or rated 17, or inappropriate for children. And that film is not. I don't even think it's appropriate for adults. It's just way too much. You know,
Yeah.
hypersexualization is just a hyper. Um, it's a film that will. It's made to divide the lines, but to me, it's divided the lines on
Mhm.
child exploitation. You know, and where's the first thing that you're
Mhm.
doing as a parent, which is protecting your children? Like as a parent of any of these, I think it was 60 girls that auditioned for this role. How did y'all accept that that was going on with your child? How did you how did you drop your 11-year-old off for these movie scenes with these people,
Mhm. And say good luck. Break a leg.
right? And how are the people
Right.
who are
We
now
can
giving
watch
this
this
film 4 and 5 stars and saying, that is, masterful performances? It's trash. It's straight trash, and it leads to um, the moral degrading of our character as a society.
I agree. I agree. And to point out something else, um, in her own words, basically, she said that a lot of people who have found fault with this film have not even watched it, and I pray that they just give it a chance and watch it. Okay, so this is my thing. A trailer, when you watch a trailer of a film, that trailer is supposed to reel you in. That trailer is like a teaser. It gives you just enough for you to say, you know what, I'm gonna watch that. It look like it's gonna be action packed. It look like it's gonna be this. It look like it's gonna be good. It look like it's gonna be a good romance. Whatever the case may be, it reels you in. So if you watch a trailer or clips and it makes you uncomfortable, what makes you think people are going to want to watch an hour or 2 hour long movie where it's just completely uncomfortable? The
Yeah.
trailer in and of itself turns people away.
Even the movie poster, the original one that they put out, all she wanted to do was just apologize for the poster, but not for the film. That, oh, that wasn't the poster that was supposed to go up. But just think about the fact that that was the poster that they chose. How many other
Mm,
pictures did they have like that?
right,
How many
right.
other disgusting pictures are they like that that would have caused outrage that the photographer took or that he had those young girls pose in? Like people, I don't understand. Like I said, to me, you can't help bring awareness to world hunger by starving people, or bring
Thank
awareness to homelessness by putting people out of their house and evicting them. That's not how you do that. That's not the way that you solve that problem. And just like you said, I'm not sure, what the total solution is to solving the hypersexualization of children, but I know it isn't this. I know this isn't the way to make me aware, to make me support anything that she does in the future. And it's a way that makes me feel like that there are people that are, for less of a term, borderline pedophiles at Netflix.
you.
And if this flies at dark to y'all, I don't know what to say about y'all's character and your moral turpitude.
Yeah. And the lack of repentance on how you pronounce her name? Right. I'm sorry, I got it. The lack of repentance and empathizing on her end is what is the most alarming. Like, sis, I understand art as an artist myself or as a musician myself. Understand that you may have a vision and you want it to be perceived a certain way. But if the masses, if a large group of people are telling you, okay, we're not perceiving it the way that you want us to, that's something that I think you need to take into consideration.
Hmm.
Don't just give us your ass to kiss and
This is
say, well, it's my art, deal with it. No, 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 babe, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And you're definitely not going to get people to watch the film if they've already told you, hey, the trailer, the little clips that you guys are releasing, that in and of itself is enough to make us boycott Netflix. And you want to come out and you want to stand behind it. So you are letting us know that you don't care about the consumer. You do not care about how we feel about it. You do not care about how the masses perceive what you have filmed and put out. And I understand it's your art. But if your art is making everybody or a lot of people extremely uncomfortable, it might be something you need to consider. Or maybe even just say, hey, you know what? I hear you, I see you. Um, your complaints, your questions, they have not gone unnoticed. So what I'm going to try to do is maybe try and film it in a different way, a way that really showcases what I want you guys to receive from. And then actually, hey, you have the power of the review. The power of the review will take you a long way in business, right? So if
Fact.
you are a business and you actually read the reviews, reading the reviews will help your business become better.
You know, there's a
So
term
if
that they
everybody's
say.
okay with awareness, but they not okay with the trajectory, baby, you gotta consider that, my love.
That's a fact. There's a saying in medical, to do no harm, right? So it basically
Mhm,
means that the condition that you found someone in as a medical professional, you try to
mhm,
help them, but you help them in a way that you don't hurt them by making it worse. So
right.
to me, what my Mona has managed to do is actually hurt the cause that she supposedly is championing. Because to me, it does not, the outcome isn't the same, or the desired outcome, so to speak. To me, it all sounds like a bunch of rationalization for the message you put out. Like,
Mm,
you want to spin it now and say that, sin, I think you made a movie that you knew was going to be shock value, that you knew was going to be risque, that you knew was going to get a lot of reaction from,
mhm.
and um, and you knew what would be that it would get an outcry, and that's
Mhm.
exactly what you were looking for.
It's
So,
borderline clout chasing. It comes off as borderline clout chasing. People doing whatever just to get a buzz about them. They want conversation surrounding whatever it is that they're doing. They want the likes, they want the hearts, they want the comments, they want the millions of views, but it's all for clout. What I understand us raising awareness, and we should by all means, but at what cost?
yep,
Like
like
who's
what did
going
this
to
do?
suffer by raising awareness the way that you are going about doing it, sweetheart?
Yep,
Who's
what
going
how
to
did the kids benefit from this whatsoever? How did any child benefit from this movie? Are you giving the proceeds of the movie away to help, children who are abused or victims of pedophilia or child molestation? How does anything that you're doing help children? And then even if it does, what you did is help feed monsters with the mess that you put out. Because
Thank
regardless of
you.
how you want to interpret it,
Right.
someone else may look at it as something else. You know what I mean? Someone else can just look at the old Sears catalog and the panties and bras and have a field day. So if you're talking
Exactly.
about somebody that's a pedophile or a child molester or someone who commits sexual crimes against children, they'll see this. They don't care about your message.
Right. They just care about getting off in their sick minds. Exactly. In the same, like I've heard it saying before, jail is not a rehabilitation center. People don't go to jail to get rehabilitated. They go to jail to learn how to become better criminals.
Hmm.
So it's like with this whole movie, sweetheart, pedophiles aren't watching this movie to be delivered from their sick perversions. They may be watching this movie to get some tips and tricks. Oh, all I gotta do is get a Canon T7, blah, 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 and I can zoom in like this, and I can see little girls from 2 miles away. Oh, bet, run it. Sick
Yeah,
and disgusting.
it's sad what it's coming to. And in closing, wrapping up, the show is called Opposite Sides. And a lot of times y'all tune in, and I'm sure me and my co hosts will be on two opposing different sides. But on this particular topic and on this particular argument, we're both disgusted. And we find ourselves on the opposite side of Maimouna Doucoure. You got any closing remarks for us, Miss Crystal Renee?
I do. An act only works on an audience. We need to be very careful with who our audience is and how we handle them. Respect and love is something that we all need. Even the youngest of souls, we need to make sure that we respect and we love them, and we treat and handle them with such delicacy because they're very fragile. When we're looking at psyche and emotions and upbringing, kids are humans too.
Yes.
Be exploited, they can, be taken advantage of. They can feel certain emotions that a lot of adults don't even acknowledge at times, but we have to love our children enough to understand how they think and be able to contextualize, speak to them in a manner that they get it without doing any harm. So Maimouna Doucoure, sweetheart, this ain't it. What you did, and I don't have the answers, but I do know that this is the wrong one. What you did. So you need to work on that, and I think you need to repent in Jesus' name. Amen.
Well, thank you for those lovely words. I'm gonna tell you like this. As a father of daughters, that range in age from the early 20s to 11 years old, I was disgusted by what I saw on Twitter. I was disgusted by the scene write-ups that I saw. I was disgusted by the brief stuff that I saw on Netflix so much that I wasn't even comfortable with watching it. I would be hurt if I saw my daughter doing any of the things that I saw those 11-year-old girls doing. I would be up in arms if I came to any drill team dance, cheerleader tryout, and saw my daughter doing a routine like that. I would instantly pull her off of the floor. I would instantly go get her out of a tryout, out of a practice, or what have you. I understand sometimes people do art or they do things in order to bring awareness to things, but this isn't the way that you do it. To me, it's child pedophilia. Uh, it's distasteful, and I don't think it's justified by trying to put what by trying to put a cause on it. You know what I mean? I think it was a smut film. And she's trying to justify making it, and so are the people who produced it and actually bankrolled the film. But I wanted to thank everyone that tuned in to our first show. We're going to be covering various amounts of topics like these. We've got a whole lineup of shows, and this is just our first one. But I'd like to thank Crystal Renee for coming on and agreeing to do this with me because I felt like with the banter that we have, and a lot of times we end up being on the opposite sides of the equation, but there's spiritual arguments that people can learn from, and hopefully, we can glean some open discussions that we can educate ourselves on.
Absolutely.
So tune in next time. The next topic, one of the topics that we're going to be discussing soon is outside validation. Is it necessary in relationships? So get your comments, your questions together. Anything you want to contribute, you can email us at oppositesideshow@gmail.com. Thank you guys once again.
Thank you.